has invoked Section 189 of the Labour Relations Act, which could mean job shedding. Workers at its Black Rock manganese mine could be affected. The group's profits were pummeled for the 6 months that ended in December. It reported headline earnings, a main measure of profit here in South Africa, fell by a whopping 56%. The oil price has been headline news, but other commodities have fallen. Iron ore prices were down around 45% during that period. Earnings for platinum also fell, and losses in ARM's copper division deepened. But for the weaker rand, the picture would have been even worse. Our reporter Nompu Siziba caught up with African Rainbow Minerals CEO and asked what drove such a drop in fortunes.
We are subject to the market and market conditions in commodities. The pronounced drop in commodity prices affected everyone. We as a company, have always been prudent in terms of cost management, in terms of capital management. We have a healthy balance sheet. We have good cash. And our operations, all of our steady state operations are situated below the 35th percentile on the global cost curve. That in itself puts us in a very good position going forward. In an environment like this, there's always opportunities. Whilst there's strain, there's always opportunities. And so value accretive investments is something that we're keen to look on. The last point I want to raise, so the issue is, of course, we must react to an environment like this with improving our productivity drive, focus on that, improving costs, and there are a number of ongoing initiatives right now. But more importantly is we have to make sure that we still have free cash in terms of our growth aspirations and to satisfy our shareholders in terms of dividends.
I see that you've been experiencing some inefficiencies at your Modikwa platinum mine. How are you managing that situation, and how can you resolve the problems there?
It has faced challenges. It has disappointed. Three of the main reasons that impacted us was we had some industrial action, we've had a number of safety stoppages, and then we had a procrastinated long leave over December. So that has impacted our business. So we have made a number of changes on the operational side. I'm very pleased to say we've signed a 2.5-year, and I'll explain the half-year wage agreement, and on very good terms to both sides. The reason for the 2.5 years is that the industry normally negotiates around about June, Modikwa being the only operation that gets into negotiations in January, concludes in February. And this time around we wanted to bring that in, and hence so it's a 2 to 2.5 year rollout. So that is certainly bode well for Modikwa. Another intervention is that it's already bearing fruits. We see that today. Is the recoveries on that plant, which was historically over the last 2 years around about the 83%. We've introduced what we call an MIG system, which is just an enhancement of a fine grind, and we're already seeing good results. We expect a 3% productivity improvement at that, and on the basis of sound relations with the workforce and engagements on management, we're pretty confident we're going to see a significant turnaround sustainably at Modikwa. I'm very confident of that.
Now, you're a diversified mining company, so you produce a lot of commodities. So do you have a hedging policies, and what are the pros and cons thereof?
We haven't taken on a policy of hedging the commodity or the price. It doesn't mean that we won't look at issues like hedging against the oil price. We've debated that, and we continually review that with our board. Our shareholders in principle say to us, they'll do the hedging, they'll do the funding, you do the mining, you push the cost down, keep yourself below the 50th percentile on the global cost curve, and you will see through the times. You know, the commodity cycles have always been there and will always be there into the future. But what do? Manage your costs, make sure that you're on the low end of the cost curve, and preserve cash in time. So you have to react. You will come through, and we position ourselves in terms of growth when the commodities and when they do return.
Given global dynamics and local factors, obviously the industry is having a very hard time. Do you foresee that perhaps we're going to see some job losses in South Africa, where that topic is obviously a very sensitive issue in the mining sector?
There's no ways that I can here today say that we will not get into a situation in terms of cutting back on jobs. In fact, we have a process ongoing right now on 2 of our operations, which we call a 189, but it's a consultative process. There are many interventions, and there's a long walk till we get to the stage where we finally terminate. But when we get to operations which are no longer cost competitive or non-profitable, then we have to review them, and we are reviewing them.
Of African Rainbow